Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a digital masterpiece by creator Matt Rittman that completely took the internet by storm. You know, we see incredible things online literally every single day, but rarely do we see a mechanical explainer achieve the status of a true cultural phenomenon. So today, we are breaking down a piece of media that perfectly marries high-end 3D artistry with precise mechanical engineering to teach millions of people exactly how things work.
I mean, just let this staggering number sink in for a second. Over 93 million views for a mere 2.5-minute animation explaining the mechanics of a Glock 19. 93 million. That is way more views than most blockbuster movie trailers ever get. It's an absolute testament to how universally captivating a well-structured, visually clear explanation can actually be. But it really makes you wonder, how does a highly technical, completely voiceless animation about the internal workings of a firearm capture the attention of almost 100 million people?
So what actually makes a 3-minute animation go viral? Today, we're unpacking exactly how this bite-sized clip pulled it off. It's essentially a masterclass in visual storytelling, and we're going to follow its creation from the very first digital wireframe to the final polished frame. Because it isn't just about the subject matter, right? It is about the structural pacing that keeps us totally glued to our screens from the very beginning to the final credits.
All right, let's get into Phase 1, the digital craftsmanship. To understand this viral phenomenon, we first have to look at the sheer artistry required to build a virtual firearm from scratch.
Because think about it, how do you actually build a digital Glock? It's not like Rittman just pointed a camera at a physical object on a table. No, he had to play the role of a digital watchmaker. He meticulously built every single spring, pin, and barrel in the virtual realm so they interact perfectly. If you were to take a physical version of this gun apart, you'd find dozens of highly specific, precisely machined components. To make an accurate explainer, the digital artist literally has to become a virtual machinist, modeling the exact geometry, the tension of the springs, the whole shebang.
And he used a pretty intense technical toolkit to pull this off. We're talking Cinema 4D for creating and animating every individual part. Think of that as the virtual workshop. Then there's Substance Painter for designing those incredibly realistic main textures. That's where the metallic sheen and those subtle matte polymer textures are meticulously painted on so it doesn't look like a cartoon. And finally, the Corona renderer is used for rendering the final lifelike lighting and visuals. The sheer amount of work at each software stage is truly awe-inspiring.
Now here's the real kicker. 6. That's the number of months it usually takes to produce just one of these short animations. 6 entire months. Half a year for an animation that you can watch while waiting for your coffee to brew. This number completely recontextualizes what we are analyzing today. It's not just some quick weekend project, it is a serious labor of love. The sheer endurance required to sit at a computer day after day, tweaking the physics of a digital spring or adjusting the lighting on a firing pin, it's absolutely extraordinary.
Moving right along to Phase 2, the mechanical cycle. Because once that digital model is built, the next massive challenge is the choreography.
Rittman masterfully maps out these mechanics, so there is absolutely zero wasted space. Listen to how efficient this timeline is. At just 11 seconds, we get the basic function. By 39 seconds, we're already seeing case extraction. At 47 seconds, cartridge loading. Then skipping ahead to 126 seconds for barrel rifling, and finally the cartridge feed at 141 seconds. It's a continuous, rapid-fire flow of information. Every single moment is perfectly designed to deliver a new piece of the mechanical puzzle without a single lull.
And nestled right smack in the middle of this rapid cycle is a really critical moment, the trigger reset. This isolates one of the hardest concepts for a novice to grasp visually, how the semi-automatic system prepares for the next round without any manual intervention. By focusing on this exact mechanical action occurring right at the 1 minute and 2 second mark, we truly understand the engineering magic happening inside the grip before we move on to the next concept.
Which brings us to Phase 3, 3 layers of safety. Because the explainer doesn't just focus on the main firing action, it meticulously breaks down the internal protections too. He breaks this abstract engineering concept down into a logical 3-step sequence, demonstrating the triad of integrated safeties. First up, introduced at the 128 mark, is the trigger safety. Then, we seamlessly transition to the firing pin safety at 140, and finally, the drop safety, introduced at 153. A mechanism is really only as good as its safety features, and instead of just glossing over these invisible protections, this phase proves exactly how accidental actions are prevented.
And that leads us to the last piece of the puzzle,
the final polish. When you combine that grueling digital craftsmanship with a perfectly timed script, you get an interactive textbook that instructors and hobbyists return to again and again.
I absolutely love this quote directly from Matt Rittman. He notes, "These animations take considerable time and resources to make, often taking 6+ months to produce." It's such a great reality check, honestly. It's so easy in our fast-scrolling digital age to consume 3 minutes of content and move on, but these words anchor us back to the reality of the human effort involved. It's a powerful testament to independent creators dedicating themselves to absolute clarity and quality.
So, it leaves us with this question. Next time you watch a flawless 3-minute animation, are you just seeing the final product, or will you see the months of hidden craftsmanship hiding behind those pixels? It completely changes how you consume digital media for sure. Because when we start to appreciate the brilliant structure behind these visual explanations, the complex world around us becomes incredibly accessible and deeply fascinating. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, never stop looking for the brilliant structures hidden in plain sight.